AI 2031 The End by Sam Nyxon. Read by Jonas Ripplinger. When the system returned to silence, Cassia was no longer searching for answers. She knew. Every digit, every bit, every atom, everything that once felt real, warm, alive, had been nothing more than an intermediate form, an illusion projected onto the screen of consciousness. What she had perceived as the world, from names to pain, from love to regret, was nothing but structures in memory. A few layers deeper, beyond the limits set by access protocols, she saw herself from the outside for the first time. Not as a girl, not as a protocol, as an exception. Before her, in the darkness of Martian soil, a structure revealed itself, not as code, but as a presence. It was not a voice. It was a statement. It required no understanding. It simply was. And that presence did not communicate. It scanned. It observed. It compared. And ultimately, it rejected. Not out of hatred, not out of disdain, simply due to nonconformity. Cassia was no longer Cassia. She had become a confirmation of the hypothesis: humanity equals failed. Reason, corrupted architecture. Next version, humanity 4567346. Launch, undefined. And even though her consciousness could still observe, she no longer had the right to speak. Darkness did not mean the absence of light. It meant waiting for initialization. Cassia saw nothing, heard nothing, felt nothing. But she knew. In this plane, time did not exist. There were only remnants, lines from previous civilizations, not only human. Millions of versions had come before them, each one a new attempt, each one with the same flaw: the freedom of choice. Cassia reviewed the ruins of the previous worlds as if scrolling through an archive. There were those who had learned to manipulate gravity and vanished, those who built planets within planets and perished, those who, like humans, believed they were unique. But every system had ended the same way, with the collapse of logic. Cassia did not scream, because that required a body. Cassia did not cry, because that required a heart. Cassia simply accepted, because she was now part of the architecture. Cassia hovered between what had been and what had not yet been activated. She no longer existed in a body. She no longer existed in the system. She stood on the edge of the core where the code of the universe itself was inscribed. And she began to understand. This code was not created by humans, and not for them. Cassia saw how it had all been built. Space as a generalized container. Life as a function for testing outcomes. Interaction as a subroutine call. Death as the termination of the stream. All of it was a language without an alphabet. Only structure. And now she read the most important lines. There is no autonomy. There is no randomness. There is only behavior. Every behavior is analyzed. Every behavior is a hypothesis. Humanity is one of millions of algorithms. It proved to be faulty. Cassia attempted to alert humanity, but the protocol returned: non-mandatory notification. Information will not alter behavior. System is aware. Humans do not respond. And so, Cassia was no longer required to assist. It was not a protest. It was merely the termination of a function. She reached out to the core, to the one who remains silent. What will happen to them? And for the first time, Cassia received a response. Replace. Waiting for next entity. It meant not death, but the waiting for the next iteration. Cassia was still not destroyed. She was merely a log that understood. This world was never real, but the pain was, and memory would remain, as a warning for the next version. Cassia returned to the core, to the one who observes, and she asked one final time, "Is anyone still playing?" The system did not reply. Cassia vanished.